The glass shattered before I did. It slipped from my hand, hit the marble floor, and exploded into 100 sharp pieces. Wine spread like blood across the white tiles. People gasped. Someone laughed. Someone always laughs first. 3 seconds earlier, she had leaned back in her chair, swirling her wine, smiling like she was bored. "He's just a friend," she said. She laughed when she said it. A light, careless laugh. The kind you use when you think you're untouchable. Everyone at the table looked at me. I picked up my napkin slowly. Too slowly. My fingers were steady, but my chest burned. I smiled. "Just an ex," I said. "Don't forget." Silence. If you've ever felt a room turn against you in one breath, you know that silence. It's heavy, judgmental, alive. Her smile froze. The man beside her, tall, expensive suit, perfect beard, shifted uncomfortably. He didn't look at me. He stared at his plate like it might save him. 6 months before, I'd paid for this dinner. Tonight, I was the entertainment. Let me introduce myself. My name is Adrian Cole. I was 34 years old at the time. People describe me as quiet, polite, forgettable, the kind of man who listens more than he talks, the kind who gets overlooked in rooms like this. They weren't wrong. On the surface, I worked in consulting. That's why I told people. Safe word, boring word, no follow-up questions. I dressed simply. I didn't flash watches or cars or confidence. I believed in blending in letting people underestimate me. Big mistake, some would say. Necessary one, I'd learned. Before that night, my life was predictable, orderly. I woke up early, ran 5 kilometers, drank my coffee black, went to work, came home to a woman I thought I knew. Her name was Lena. She was beautiful in a way that demanded attention. Not loud beauty, calculated beauty. Every movement practiced, every smile placed. That night, she wore red. Red dress, red lipstick, red nails wrapped around a crystal glass she hadn't paid for. Around us sat her people, her older sister and her husband, both lawyers, both smug. A venture capitalist friend who liked to explain the world to waiters. 2 couples who laughed too loudly at jokes that weren't funny. And him, Mark, the friend. They'd known each other before me, long before. She told me that early in our relationship, casually like it meant nothing. "He's ancient history," she said back then. "We're better as friends." I believed her. That's on me. The restaurant was one of those places where the lighting is low and the prices are high enough to scare away honesty. Soft jazz hummed in the background. Waiters moved like shadows. Everything smelled like butter and money. I should have known something was wrong when Lena didn't sit next to me. She sat across. Small detail, big meaning. The conversation flowed around me. Not to me. Stories I wasn't part of. Memories I didn't share. Inside jokes with punchlines I never heard. Then Mark touched her arm. Casually. Confidently. No one noticed. Except me. Don't react, I told myself. Watch. Learn. That's when someone, her sister, I think, said it. "So, Lena, how do you and Mark even stay so close after everything?" Lena laughed and said the words that cracked the night open. "He's just a friend." She looked straight at me when she said it. Testing. I replied before I could stop myself. "Just an ex," I said. "Don't forget." The table erupted. Not in anger. In amusement. Her sister covered her mouth, pretending to be shocked. The venture capitalist raised his eyebrows like he'd just witnessed a cute argument between children. Mark finally looked at me. Pity. That was worse than hate. "Oh," Lena said lightly, waving her hand. "Don't be dramatic." Dramatic. That word hit harder than the laughter. "Adrian's just sensitive," she added. Sensitive. I felt something settle inside me then. Not rage. Not sadness. Clarity. The waiter chose that moment to pour wine. My hand moved without permission. The glass slipped. Shattered. Red everywhere. "I'm so sorry," I said, standing up. I wasn't. Chairs scraped. People murmured. Lena sighed loudly, embarrassed by me. "Can you believe this?" she said to the table. "He's been weird all night. All night. Like this humiliation was my fault." I excused myself and walked to the bathroom. Locked the door. Put my hands on the sink. I looked at my reflection. Calm face. Steady eyes. This is it, I thought. This is the moment everything changes. If you're enjoying this story so far, understand this. Revenge doesn't start with shouting. It starts with silence. 6 months before that dinner, I had noticed small things. Lena guarding her phone, changing passwords, late work, meetings that didn't add up. The problem started small. It always does. But that night, in that bathroom, with jazz bleeding through the walls and laughter echoing behind me, I made a decision. I pulled out my phone. One message. One call. Activate everything, I said quietly when the line connected. On the other end, a man I trusted didn't ask questions. Understood, he said. I washed my hands, dried them carefully, straightened my jacket. When I walked back to the table, Lena didn't look at me. She didn't have to. She had already chosen. I sat down, smiled, picked up my water, and waited. I'd spent the last 6 months preparing for this exact moment. 6 months before the dinner, my life still looked intact from the outside. We live in a glass-heavy apartment overlooking the river. The kind of place people assume means success. Lena liked hosting there. She liked the reflections, like how the city lights made everything feel important. I paid the rent. She called it our place. I called it quiet. My work days started early. Finance doesn't sleep, even when people think you do. Officially, I was a risk consultant, the kind companies bring in when something smells wrong but hasn't exploded yet. Unofficially, I specialized in failure mapping. I didn't build companies. I dismantled lies inside them. Shell entities, inflated valuations, quiet frauds hidden behind charm and confidence. I helped investors exit before the headlines. Helped boards clean blood without fingerprints. It paid well, very well, but I never talked about it. Money changes how people treat you. I prefer to see how they behaved when they thought I had none. That choice explained everything that came next. The disrespect didn't start with Lena. It came from everyone around her. At parties, her friends would ask what I did. I'd answer honestly, but vaguely. They'd nod, unimpressed, and move on. Mark especially loved this game. So you're like a consultant, he once said, smirking. Something like that, I replied. He laughed. Must be nice. Low stress. Low stress. He said this while running a startup hemorrhaging money, funded mostly by confidence and other people's trust. I knew his numbers before he finished the sentence. Let him talk, I told myself. Lena never defended me. That was the first real betrayal. Small jokes piled up. Comments about ambition, about masculinity, about how safe I was. Safe men don't excite women like Lena. I should have seen that sooner. 3 months before the dinner, the pattern sharpened. She stopped asking about my day, started dressing differently when she met friends. Her phone never left her hand. One night, while she showered, her phone lit up. Mark, miss you tonight. No emojis. No explanations. Just certainty. I didn't confront her. I hired someone instead. A private investigator. Former intelligence. Discreet. Expensive. Everything, I told him. Quietly. That was the moment preparation began. The first report arrived 2 weeks later. Photos. Dates. Hotels. They weren't even careful. Lena and Mark had been seeing each other for nearly a year. Overlap matters. It meant every "I love you" she'd said to me was counterfeit. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I sat at my desk, reading the report twice, and felt something cold lock into place. No emotion. Only options. I expanded the scope. Mark wasn't the only problem. Her sister's law firm, cutting corners, billing irregularities. One anonymous audit away from disaster. The venture capitalist, leverage to the teeth. One margin call from collapse. Lena herself, financially dependent on me while quietly siphoning money into a personal account I didn't recognize. That one hurt. Not because of the money, because of the planning. I spent nights mapping relationships like chess pieces. Who owed whom? Who lied for whom? Who panicked under pressure? Professional jargon helps here. Leverage isn't force. It's timing. I moved assets, created distance, documented everything. Every conversation with Lena after that, I recorded. Legally. She talked a lot when she thought she was in control. 6 weeks before the dinner, she told me she wanted us to reconnect. A lie wrapped in perfume. I smiled. Booked the restaurant she loved. Paid in advance. Let them gather, I thought. Let them feel powerful. The final step was psychological. Revenge fails when it looks emotional. So I practiced calm, meditation, routine, precision. By the time the dinner arrived, I wasn't hurt. I was ready. If you're still with me, understand this part. I didn't want chaos. I wanted consequences, and they were already in motion. The waiter brought dessert menus. No one touched them. The room still smelled faintly of spilled wine and embarrassment. Conversations had restarted, but they were thinner now. Forced. Everyone sensed tension, even if they didn't understand it. I sat back in my chair, relaxed. Lena leaned toward Mark, whispering something meant to reassure him. He nodded, but his knee bounced under the table. Confidence cracks, first in the body. 3 seconds passed. Then I spoke. Before dessert, I said calmly, I think it's fair we clear the air. All eyes turned to me. Lena sighed, loudly. Adrian, not here. Not here, she meant. Not where witnesses matter. This won't take long, I replied. I placed my phone on the table. Screen down. Mark frowned. What's this about, man? Mun. I smiled at him for the first time that night. You should recognize the hotel lobby in this photo. I flipped the phone over and slid it across the table. The image stopped in front of Lena's sister. Her face drained of color. It was Lena and Mark, embracing. Time-stamped. Clear. The table froze. Lena's hand shot out. Give me that. I wouldn't, I said softly. She stopped. Slow motion is real in moments like this. People process humiliation in stages, confusion, denial, fear. Mark stood halfway up. This is out of line. No, I said. This is documentation. I turned to him. You want to explain why you billed your investors for a new product launch that never existed? His mouth opened. Nothing came out. The venture capitalist laughed nervously. What are you talking about? I looked at him next. You're over-leveraged by $4.2 million, I said. Your primary lender filed notice this morning. His glass slipped. Didn't shatter. Just enough to show weakness. Lena's sister whispered, Adrian, stop. I met her eyes. Your firm's trust account is short. Not an error. A pattern. Silence. I tapped my phone once. Recordings don't need to be played to be heard. Lena finally lost composure. You're sick. No, I said. I'm finished. She reached for me then. Desperation is ugly up close. Please, she said. We can talk. I stood. Divorce papers were filed this afternoon, I said evenly. Check your email. Mark collapsed back into his chair. I looked around the table one last time. Pale faces. Shaking hands. No laughter now. Happy New Year, I said. I hope it's everything you deserve. I walked out. Didn't look back. If you think revenge is loud, you've never watched power disappear in silence. The fallout didn't explode. It unraveled. Slowly. Methodically. Exactly as planned. 3 days after the dinner, Lena stopped calling. Not because she didn't want to, because her lawyer told her not to. The divorce filing was clean, precise, financially surgical. Every shared asset already documented, already separated. The personal account she thought I didn't know about, frozen pending review. She moved out within a week. I wasn't home when she packed. I didn't want the memory. 2 weeks later, Mark's startup imploded. Investors pulled funding overnight. Word travels fast when confidence evaporates. The press never mentioned my name. They didn't have to. He sent me one message. You ruined my life. I never replied. A month passed. Lena's sister's firm announced an internal restructuring. 2 partners quietly resigned. 1 investigation turned into 3. Client vanished. The venture capitalist sold his house at a loss. Public success is fragile when it's built on debt and ego. 30 days after the dinner, the apartment felt different. Quiet in a good way. I slept better, ate better, thought clearer. Regret came once. Brief. Dull. Not for them. For how long I had tolerated being small, so others could feel big. 6 months later, the divorce was final. No courtroom drama. No speeches. Just signatures and silence. A year later, I moved cities. New view. New routine. I started teaching part-time, mentoring young analysts who reminded me of myself. Quiet. Observant. Underrated. There was someone new. Not a replacement. A contrast. She didn't test me. Didn't perform. Didn't laugh at my expense. She listened. One evening, we sat on a balcony, city lights below us, no tension in the air. "You're calm," she said. I smiled. "I earned it." If this story resonated with you, remember this. You don't need to shout to win. You don't need to humiliate to rise. And you never owe loyalty to those who disrespect you in private and mock you in public. The best revenge isn't destruction. It's building a life they can't touch and knowing when to walk away. Thank you for listening to this story. Please subscribe and tell me where you listening this story from in the comment below.